Hey everyone, welcome to the Coach Catalyst podcast. This show is about helping you grow as a coach by standing on the shoulders of giants. Each show, you get a different mentor in your ear. The early motivations, the successes, the failures, the tools, the tricks, and the insight into where the industry is going. All of it so you can make your own dent in the world. Remember, success leaves clues. Now, without further ado, on to the show.
Hello and welcome to the Coach Catalyst podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Whitwer. On today's episode, I'm going to be doing part 2 with Nolan Harper. He's a YouTube ads expert and his company is called Proven Digital. In this part 2, we're going to cover exactly how you can make YouTube work for you. We're going to dig into more of the details, the tactics of YouTube, and make sure that you can blow up this platform. Nolan believes that YouTube is going to be the platform of the future. And because they're owned by Google, it's essentially the internet, right? So I hope you enjoy this episode, part 2 with Nolan Harper on the Coach Catalyst podcast. So how about for the person that's like, I don't have a YouTube channel. You know, maybe I'm a let's call it a weight loss coach for moms, right? And I don't have a YouTube channel, and YouTube is like super saturated. And when I go on there, like there's a billion people that are already, you know, talking about weight loss for moms. How would I break kind of into that, or how would I start creating content that, you know, gets me leads and gets me traction on that platform? Or is it too late?
No, it's definitely not too late, but that is a massive limiting belief. And I understand why, right? There are thousands of channels, and at some point it will be arguably too late, right? At some point, I don't think we're there yet. I think we're about to see a massive rush back into the YouTube space in the next, I mean, it's already kind of happening, but we'll see it continue probably for the next 2 to 3 years. And then that saturation mark is definitely going to increase, but the people are there. And they're looking, and like, think about your Instagram. Like, how many people do you follow on Instagram? Well, guess what? People will follow that many channels on YouTube too, right? The key to actually getting an audience on YouTube is creating a good product, right? Mm-hmm. Your content is YouTube's product. So create content that YouTube wants to promote. If there is one shining star I've learned about YouTube, it is that YouTube will prioritize content with their algorithm, who they show your content to. They will prioritize content that brings people to the platform and keeps them there. Sounds pretty basic. Mm-hmm. But if you make every single decision with that in mind, you will absolutely grow your channel hands down every single time.
Is there a length? Is it short? Is it long? Is it kind of YouTube shorts now? Like, if a coach was like, hey, I want to get started on YouTube, I think this is a viable way for me to connect, because they're an online coach. They're trying to connect with people outside. Like, what's the first step for them to get started?
Yep. Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to get granular here on the tactics for you, because I think that it could be really valuable. So if I was going to start a YouTube channel today for weight loss for moms, for example, the first thing I'm looking at is who are the people who are already doing it. I'm going to go out, I'm going to find those people. I'm going to look at the content that has performed best on their channel. Okay.
So is that just based on like the number of views? Like, how would you decide what is their best content?
So the way that I look at it is, if a video has more views than the channel has subscribers, then it means that that video has gone viral. Now, we have this idea that viral is like millions of views. Right. Viral is a relative term based on the size of your audience. And so if you have 500 people who follow you, but your video has been shown to 30,000, 40,000 people, that's viral. Even 10,000 people, that's viral, because it has gone significantly outside of your sphere of influence. And so I'm looking at channels and going, okay, which videos of theirs within the last 2 years have gone beyond the audience of that channel? And those videos are the ones I'm documenting. I'm saying, hey, these are things people are looking for, right? The next thing I'm doing is I'm looking at keyword search volume. There are a couple of things you can use, like keywords everywhere. You can spend $25 and it's like not even years. It's just an insane amount of credits for keywords. And you can see how many searches that's getting per month. And then you can weigh out like what things to talk about. And the next thing I'm looking at is the overall content strategy. The easiest way to get found today is with shorts. And I don't know if you know this, but YouTube shorts actually just surpassed TikTok for views in a single, I think it was in a single month. And so big deal, big turning point, because everyone had kind of, flooded over to TikTok. But that's actually starting to shift back to YouTube, just like I was talking about earlier. So YouTube shorts are one of the fastest way to get found. That's where you can get your impressions in. So what you can do is you can take your content and you can, done properly, you can break up your content into pieces, get found with shorts, and then drive traffic to your channel. And then as long as your channel content is good, I would love to tell you that there was like a length. I think there used to be a length. If you had asked me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have said, yeah, you want to be between 8 to 12 minutes, right? And some people would argue not even more than 10. Today, I don't think that's the case. I think the algorithm is constantly changing, and you're never going to find anyone that actually knows for sure. Like even the Google reps don't know. But what you can look at is kind of what content is YouTube promoting now. And they seem to be promoting content that is holding attention longer. So the retention rate, I believe, is one of the key factors in getting your content promoted. Now, there's a number of algorithm triggers. I won't go into all of those at the moment, but I can tell you the top 2 things I would look at for any video are the title and the thumbnail. And the reason for that is that the title gets you found. When someone searches, the title is the first thing that's going to make your video populate among other videos. So the title gets you found. The thumbnail gets you clicks. That means that if your thumbnail is not enticing enough, then you've lost right away. And we want to aim for an average of around a 6% click-through rate. Anything more than that is just gravy. And so to put this in context, like let's say that you usually get 100 views on a video and your click-through rate is 6%. Simply by updating the thumbnail alone and driving it to a 9% click-through rate, you can get 50% more views on that video. And this applies at every single level. I don't care if you've got 100 views or 10,000 views or a million views. Simply updating the thumbnail alone can drive 50% to 100% more traffic to your channel. It's the lowest hanging fruit by far. So if your video is not getting views, there's a good chance your thumbnail just isn't right, or your title is not getting you found, so the thumbnail is not even giving you a chance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey there, you sexy little devil, you. Sorry for interrupting your regular programming. This is Trevor. Now, I've got a big announcement, something I'm really, really excited about, and that is the Super Coaches Summit, our Coach Catalyst Summit that is taking place in August 5th and 6th in Reston, Virginia, right outside of the Dulles Airport. Super easy to get to. Now, we've been to a lot of events. We go to a lot of events, and we wanted to make this event different. Most events are educational. You have great speakers on stage. You take a bunch of notes. You go home and do nothing. Right? We want this event to be more practical. We want it to be tactical. We want you to leave the event with a better business than when you came. Not going home and hoping that you implementing at the event. And then the second thing we want this event to be is the best networking, connecting, collaborating event you've ever been to. So we've got some really special things in store to facilitate those connections. So if you're looking for a different event, something that's going to level you up and an event that's going to allow you to have a better business when you leave than when you came, definitely check out the Super Coaches Summit. We are dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's. This thing is going to be on point, and I want you to be there. And so just to kind of go back a little bit, you said YouTube Shorts is a way to kind of get found and that moves to your channel. Is that like, are you just saying, hey, go subscribe to my channel, or are there other things that a coach should be thinking about in order to move someone from YouTube Shorts to their channel?
Yep, that's a great question. So there's 2 pieces that I want to talk about with this. The first is that all channels, I believe currently all channels, regardless of what channel, that's TikTok, that's Facebook, whatever it is, should be driving to YouTube right now today. The reason for that is on average, it takes around 7.5 hours of somebody viewing your content, regardless of what that is. It could be PDFs, videos, it could be shorts, whatever it is, before someone likes and trusts you enough to buy from you. We want to find the things that are going to consume their time with you. We want them to spend time with you for that amount of time. Okay. So if they are coming from all platforms, remember what I told you about the way that YouTube optimizes is for content that brings people to the platform and keeps them there. So what we first want to do, you want to drive all traffic to your channel where they can get to know, like, and trust you, right? And oh man, just lost my train of thought on that. What was your question again?
Yeah, so we're moving from YouTube. So we're trying to move people from YouTube Shorts to get them to subscribe to the channel so that we can get, more consuming our content more often.
Yes. Okay. So the second piece of this is goodwill. And this is the most underrated thing I think that people look at when they're looking at how they're creating content. We live in a transactional world. And what that means is, in order for someone to want to reciprocate, you have to pour into them. Asking for a sale or trying to push someone to your product from day one is not going to succeed. And if it is, it's going to be the people who were already going to buy. They were going to buy from anybody. They just the first person who popped up, and you happen to be that person. Okay. Largely, we want to pour into these people. And so your channel actually should not be about you. And it shouldn't even be about your product, your business, or any of that. Your channel should be about the mechanism. So for example, if you're a weight loss coach for women and maybe your mechanism is keto, or maybe it's a unique strategy that you have for layering, whatever it is, and you name it something, catchy. Your channel should be entirely about that mechanism. It should have, you're not even talking about yourself. They don't even care who you are yet. A lot of people waste a lot of time in a short form world where our attention is even shorter than it was last year. People waste a lot of time trying to introduce themselves. The thing is, they're not there for you. They're there for themselves, and they will always be there for themselves to learn or to gain knowledge or whatever it is that they're looking for, right? A solution. If you spend 7 hours with someone telling them why this mechanism is the best way to get them from where they are today to the outcome, the only question they will have at the end of that 7.5 hours is, cool, who's going to help me? That's it. From there, it's almost effortless to get them in your pipeline. That's why a lot of people who have these channels where they're providing value are getting sales on the regulars, because they're providing value consistently. They're not asking for anything in return. And there's this reciprocity that's built. When people come through the pipeline, it's, here, take my money. I already know I like you. And I now believe, because of all the time that was spent with your channel, that that your way is the way. I believe this to my core. So you could go back to like breaking down a sale. There's 3 main things that someone must believe. So if I was going to go buy a car today, first off, I have to believe that I need a new car. Okay. Second, I have to believe that Toyota is the right car for me. That's the brand I want to buy from, right? Maybe it's a Tundra or something.
Right.
The third thing I have to believe is that this person is the person to sell it to me, right? So we take that back to the weight loss, right? Everyone, there's hundreds of people, thousands of people who are selling weight loss, okay? The reason you will stand out above anybody else is because you provide value to your specific audience. And they talk about, going really niching down. And there is certainly value to that, right? Niching down so that they are like, no. The other guy was just weight loss in general. This is weight loss for moms. I'm a mom. I identify with that. Yes, let's do it. By the time they spent that much time with you, they're ready to buy the moment they get on the phone. And the price becomes so secondary that there is this belief factor that they are going to achieve their outcome at the end of it.
So what would be the process? Actually, we'll come back to that. First, is production quality important, right? Or can I be talking to my iPhone with maybe a whiteboard in the background and teaching? Or do I need to be sending this to someone on Fiverr or whatever, and they're kind of like doctoring it up?
Man, I hate this. I hate this question. My background is video production. I've always been a perfectionist when it comes to video. I want it to look and feel a certain way. Transparently, that was the first belief that Alex broke when I went to work for them. They had this funnel and it was horribly ugly, but it worked. And you're talking about their competitors who had these beautiful funnels, and like ours beat theirs every single time. And so he really broke my belief around like, your stuff has to look gorgeous. Truthfully, all you need is a phone. That's it, period. You don't need anything else. But if I was going to layer on, okay, you have a phone, what now can you do to improve it? I would say that audio is the highest priority above anything else. If someone can't hear you or if the audio quality is bad, they're gone. They're not going to spend more than 10 seconds with you. Okay. So the audio is first, lighting is second. Okay. You can get good lighting for very cheap. Don't get a ring light, please. I'm begging you. That is the worst thing that was ever created, or at least used that way. Lighting is very easy to get. As long as you are well lit, so people can see you, that's pretty good quality, honestly. So we've got our phone, we've got our camera taken care of. Yeah. We've got audio. As long as your audio is good, you're not around noisy things, you're not in an echoey space. Cool, that's taken care of too. And guess what? If you are in a noisy space, grab a lavalier mic for $20 off Amazon, get an adapter to your phone, and there you go. Now you've got high quality audio for a phone video. And then the last thing is lighting. I mean, and pretty simple solutions.
I like it.
As a gym owner, Coach Catalyst is the key to having low turnover. For several years, I struggled and spent 10 to 20 hours a week communicating with clients via phone calls, Facebook Messenger, email, and text messages. I had tried everything to make my life more efficient. I was at my wit's end. And then I found Coach Catalyst. Since starting the software, I have found a life again, and my clients are thanking me for being so involved in their fitness life. I've cut my daily commitment to interacting with over 300 clients to under 15 minutes a day and have streamlined my 6-week challenges. I couldn't recommend it more. I just don't know if I would even be here today if it wasn't for Coach Catalyst. If you don't have an account already, you're missing out and not helping the people you could be.
So creating content is great, but unless you're creating content that has lots and lots of views, creating content doesn't pay the light bills. And so the process of going from content to serving the business, what does that look like? And taking someone that is a viewer to someone that is a buyer.
And you're talking purely still in the context of organic, correct?
Yeah. Let's just stay with organic for right now.
Yeah. It's the long game, and it's a exponential growth in the long game, right? The clients I've worked with on the organic side, we have always prioritized visibility. The more impressions we get, the more views we get, the more likes we get, the more the algorithm triggers, and the more that YouTube will promote your content for you, right? So as long as people are responding well to your content, then you can keep making more of that content. And then I kind of equate it to like a balloon holding water. If you poke a hole in it, now you've got water coming out of one stream. But then that's our first viral video. We want 1 in 10 to go viral. But then we start poking holes in other videos, right? And then suddenly you have a stream of people coming in, and then another stream and another stream from each of these viral videos, because you keep putting out good content and YouTube starts promoting you more and more and more. That's why guys you've never even heard of show up on your homepage on YouTube. It's because they had so much, like YouTube was like, they're getting people to the platform and they're keeping them there. We're going to show their content, right? That's how you get found. It's leveraging the algorithm. Okay. It is a long game getting someone from viewer to sale. A lot of that depends on the level of value you provide. I can tell you that I've gone on binges where I have looked up a concept and then I went into the person's channel and watched 20 videos that had nothing to do with what I originally came to that channel for, purely because the value was so good. And I would learn so much in such a short period of time. It was now worth it for me to spend my time doing that, right? It is a long game. I wish I could tell you it wasn't. Even for the best YouTubers, it was an exponential growth over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm. How do you shorten that up? Because sometimes you have a business and a business requires you to sell things. And so most people aren't trust fund kids and can just they have someone bankrolling their YouTube hobby until it ultimately breaks through. Right. And so you have the coach that has these competing demands of, okay, I need to get clients. I need to service clients. I also need to market and do all of that. How do you put all this together so it makes it manageable for a coach or a small operation to be successful?
Okay. So there are tactics to do that. Most of them require money at some point. Mm-hmm. One of the fastest ways right now is to have a setter go through your subscribers. And then you can actually find the emails from your subscribers, and you can have them message them. It's like, hey, saw that you just, subscribed. Wanted to know if we could provide you some extra value, send them content. And that is all in an effort to shorten the time, take them from, not shorten the time, but condense that 7.5 hours into a week instead of 2 months, right? We want to get them while they're in momentum, while they're experiencing you, and they're really kind of getting bought into your mechanism, because that's what you're talking about if you're doing it right. That's a way to kind of get that time in faster. Another way is just to really pump the short form content. So for every one long form piece, you're putting out anywhere from 3 to 10 short form pieces. Just trying to get the impressions. Again, I told you short form is the fastest way to get impressions today by far. And if you make a video and you have 0 subscribers, you'll get impressions, but you may get 50 to 100 impressions. If you don't have 0 subscribers and you go make a short form piece today, right now for YouTube Shorts, you'll get several thousand impressions in the first hour. Okay. And so the fastest way is to pump short form content like crazy. And if you do it right, then that content is going to make someone want to watch your channel. And you can provide a call to action. It's like, hey guys, this is actually, I cover this in depth in a brand new video. Go check it out on my channel. Link is in my bio. I look forward to seeing you over there. Right? Short call to action in your short form content, but it's not an ask necessarily. It's not saying, hey, subscribe. It's, hey, I'll give you more value. I just need you to come over here to get it. And it's a lot easier to take someone off of a YouTube short to your YouTube channel than it is to take someone off of a TikTok to your YouTube channel. It's a different style of content. People are not going to move as quickly. But that's kind of the best strategies I have for today.
And do those platforms, like, so if you're promoting your YouTube channel on your TikTok, does that decrease your visibility? Because obviously TikTok wants to keep people on TikTok, right? And Facebook wants to keep people on Facebook. They want to be sending people over to the competitors. Have you seen that be like, if you're like, hey, go check out my YouTube channel, that maybe gets less impressions or views because of...
I have seen it. I have not followed those other channels as closely as I follow YouTube, but I will say that I have seen a lower percentage come through from those channels to your YouTube channel. You could certainly make the argument that TikTok is penalizing you, or Facebook, Instagram is penalizing you for trying to take traffic off of the platform. And so that's why if I was starting today from scratch, I would just go straight to YouTube Shorts. I wouldn't even, I think that you can certainly leverage those other channels with the same creative, but find the creative that works. So I've found that creative built for TikTok tends to work across all channels. Content created for like Instagram, for example, does not tend to translate well to Shorts or TikTok. So try and find a style of content that is currently popular or trending on whatever channel, and then start testing it across. You're going to start to notice trends pretty quickly. So again, for me, I'll reiterate it one more time, but I have seen that content made for TikTok tends to perform across all channels. So I will cater content to that, not the other way around.
So when you say content that's caters to TikTok, just like the style of how kind of content is created on that platform?
Yep, the hashtags, the style, the approach, right? There's always like new trends in TikTok, whether it's a sound, an audio bite, or something visual, or some gimmicky thing people are doing. That tends to that style of content, the way that people engage on TikTok. If you get a piece that works really well on TikTok, it will probably perform pretty well on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels and Stories as well. But that does not work the other way around. Found that if you have something that does well on like Reels, it probably won't work on YouTube Shorts and TikTok as well. You may get a third to half the engagement.
Right.
My favorite thing about Coach Catalyst.
One of the things I love most about Coach Catalyst.
There are lots of things I love about Coach Catalyst.
And the reason why I love Coach Catalyst is that
the accountability off the back of that
is simplicity.
The support is amazing.
It allows me to give so much of me to my clients.
It's the drip feeding of content.
I can schedule lessons for my clients in advance.
Game changer for freeing up time.
It gives me my time back.
It's so simple and so easy.
Hi, I'm Kane, the founder of Coach Catalyst, the #1 accountability and communication software on the market today. We help coaches just like you keep their clients accountable and scale their business beyond what they've ever been able to do before. So if that sounds like something you want, let's take a look at how we can help. So Coach Catalyst was built on the 4 C's of coaching. Those are content, communication, community, and consistency. So for content, you need to go beyond just workouts and deliver the whole experience for the client so they get the results they deserve. For communication, you need to own your communication. If you don't own the communication, you don't own the client. So make sure you stop texting clients and use a centralized platform. For communities, get off of Facebook groups and take ownership over your social group with Coach Catalyst communities. And for consistency, the foundation of all results for clients, we took the best-selling book Atomic Habits and built all of these fundamentals right within our app that's going to guarantee to get your clients the best results possible. If you want to start using the 4 C's with your clients, content, connection, community, and consistency, make sure you run over to Coach Catalyst and start a free trial today.
And so as far as coming up with topics, would you say even for YouTube Shorts, kind of the similar concept of like go through, find content that's kind of making sense and hitting and views, and then create almost like mini versions of that content, kind of solving maybe specific problems?
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating. Everyone goes out trying to create content for themselves. And that's one of the biggest reasons you'll find a YouTube channel that has 100 videos and 2 subscribers. And then you'll go over and find a guy who has 2.5 million subscribers and 2 videos, right? You got to make your content based on what's already working, based on what people are already looking for. Make it for them, not for you.
And so is that, I mean, that's probably just understanding your avatar and understanding the person you're trying to serve at the deepest level, and ultimately like almost giving stuff away for free, like what you would coach them on, you're just giving it away for free. And then basically people would be paying you more for implementation and helping them navigate through their personal obstacles.
And absolutely. And one of the biggest things that kind of goes right over a lot of like fitness coaches or gym owners' heads is that they think people are paying them for the knowledge. The knowledge is out there and it's free. Mm-hmm. They're paying you for the accountability, right? That's it. So the cool, and that should be a relief to you, because the best part about that is you can give away everything for free. As a service provider with my YouTube ads agency, I will give away every single secret for free. I don't care, because I will still have a percentage of the people that I give it to come to me and say, you know what, you taught me how to fix the sink, but I really don't want to do it myself. I want you to do it. And you can do the exact same thing as a fitness coach or a life coach or any of those things. You can give away everything. Give the value away, like make them feel the need to reciprocate that back, that value exchange, right? Because they're coming to you for the human element that you're going to provide, which is in the weight loss category. It's accountability. You are the person that's holding their feet to the fire, saying, you said you were going to do this. I'm going to make sure that you achieve your goals because you wanted this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I mean, would you say a lot of that stuff you kind of took away from your time working in the fitness industry, or are you seeing this across all? Because you don't just work strictly with fitness, right? You're in like the coaching world, that kind of stuff.
I've actually only had a couple of fitness related clients since leaving Gym Launch. I've worked with a very broad range, everything from real estate to Amazon FBA to YouTube automation, right? Biz ops and all sorts of niches. But no, this is something that I see across the board. And I think that it's a little bit different if you're a straight coach. Maybe you've got a biz op or something like that. It's a little bit different because you obviously don't want to give away everything. Otherwise, why would they buy the program? But you can give away more than you think. Mm-hmm. I remember Alex started to give away so much more. In fact, in his book, in Gym Launch Secrets, the book, Alex gives away most of the stuff that was in Gym Launch. Mm-hmm. But what people wanted, and the reason they came to buy in troves, even after he launched the book, is one, the accountability, because most people don't actually take the action. But two, they wanted a personalized approach. And I think that's the key. It's offering the personalized approach, because I can give you recommendations all day long, but until I actually look at your situation and your constraints, I could never prescribe an exact detailed plan that fits you and your lifestyle and your goals. That's kind of the human element to it. But I will say you can give away so much more than you think, even if your money is made in the info product.
Right. So when does it make sense for a coach to start dabbling in the paid world? And so is there a certain like threshold of business where you feel like, hey, this makes sense? Or is it, if someone has, let's say 10 grand to be able to put out ads to get their business off the ground really quickly? Does that make sense? Or is there a certain activation point where you're like, yes, paid ads make sense. Now let's do this.
Yeah. As a general rule of thumb, if you have more time than money, you want to do organic. If you have more money than time, you want to do paid, right? And that's kind of just the general rule of thumb. But when you actually look at it a little bit more granularly, you'd have to say that, let me go at it from this approach. There's warm traffic, there's cold traffic. Warm traffic leans on the trust that is conveyed or passed through another person, or from the relationship they have through your content, right? They've seen this, they have these beliefs, right? Warm traffic takes fewer touch points both before and after the sale. And this is a really important point. When you move to paid traffic, you actually need to look at, how can I have more touch points both before the sale, which everyone thinks about. They're like, oh yeah, of course I need more touch points before the sale. But nobody thinks about, I need more touch points after the sale too. Because here's what happens. I found you an hour ago, and now I've just given you $5,000 to $10,000. The first thing I'm doing is I'm looking over my shoulder going, should I have done that? Was that a good decision? Because I don't know you. I've never gone through your content. I haven't done anything else. I don't know someone who knows you. You're just this guy on the internet who says he might be able to help me. Warm traffic bridges that gap. Cold traffic, you have to build it in. So when I look at whether or not a company is ready for cold traffic, it's less about the business metrics, and those are a huge piece for sure, but more about, okay, how do you plan, or what infrastructure do you have in place to increase your touch points? Because otherwise your churn goes through the roof. And when churn goes through the roof, then your ad profitability plummets. And then that was a waste to begin with. Now, to actually crack this, we call it cracking, an acquisition pipeline. To actually crack this, of course, you're going to have to run traffic to figure out the right balance of all of the moving levers for your business in particular. I would say you need to expect to spend a lot more than you're probably comfortable with. So I talk to guys who are doing anywhere from 30 to 50K, and they're like, I'm ready to run ads. I'm like, cool. Just so you know, especially in the Facebook world, in YouTube world, if you're going to go and start paying for YouTube ads, there's a good chance that you're probably going to spend 10K a month. And then it's not even going to optimize. The algorithm isn't going to know who you're looking for until 90 days. I've literally seen ad costs drop by half at the 90-day mark, because that's when we've spent enough money, and that's when the algorithm has gotten enough conversions to go, we know who you're looking for. Let's go find some more people like that. When you venture in, and a lot of people think that I'm biased because I own a YouTube ads agency, but I look holistically at, all of the platforms, and I have a lot of experience on the other platforms. I had more experience still to this day. Actually, I think I have more experience on Facebook than I do on YouTube. And I will tell people that if you want to get started fast, Facebook is a great option. There's a good chance, as long as you do it right, that you'll get sales through Facebook pretty quickly. The problem with Facebook is that it's going to struggle to scale, and tracking is going to be slightly more difficult, and it's demographic based. And so you're dealing with interruption marketing instead of intent marketing, right? There's all these little factors that play into it. So again, this was a long answer to a short question, but basically I think that there's a lot of variables that go into deciding when to start, cold traffic. I would say you need to do it at a time when you feel comfortable losing that money. If your business is hanging on every dollar that comes in, you're probably not ready for cold traffic. If you're at a point where you have a surplus and you're at a point where you now have more money than you have time, it's at that moment that you go, okay, How can I leverage the resources that I have today to bring in more people on demand? Because you have to also think the moment that you start increasing the volume and bringing in traffic on demand, your infrastructure is going to take a heavy hit.
Right.
Ads, paid traffic usually will break a business purely from the standpoint of volume. Okay. You went from doing 1 to 2 sales calls a day to now you're doing 3 to 5 sales calls a day. Well, if you are a one-man band, that's gonna rock your world. That's 1 to 2 hours versus 3 to 5, depending on your sales. So the point is, you have to look at the big picture and say, cool, can my business sustain this? Can I stand to go without this being profitable for a little bit while I figure out how to actually make this acquisition pipeline work? If the answer to that is yes, cool. And do I have more money than time? Then yes.
Is there, I mean, when you look at cost to acquire a customer, when we look at Facebook versus YouTube, are you seeing better return on ad spend on YouTube versus like a Facebook?
The short answer to that is yes. The long answer is I typically see ad costs that are pretty similar to each other, but what we find is slightly higher quality with YouTube. With higher quality leads comes better show up rates, more at bats, giving you more opportunities to sell. And when you get more opportunities to sell, inevitably you will get more sales. And so it's a small percentage. You feel it the most when you're spending a lot of money. You probably wouldn't notice too much of a difference when you're spending, very little, anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000. It'll probably come out to pretty close to the same.
Okay. And what's working right now, since you're kind of in call it the coaching space, right? Like what's working for offers, or what do you see is working for offers here in like the next year?
That's a really good question.
Are we going to stay in the high ticket world where it's, the 2 to 5 or whatever, or is it going to move to something different? What are you seeing from your vantage point?
I think that the entire coaching industry, fitness, wellness, business, you name it, I think it's all about to go through a major shakeup. And I think it's already started. And I think what you're going to see is a consolidation of information. I think that information is no longer it's no longer holding the value. It's become commoditized. It's not holding the value that it did even a few years ago. Because information is now everywhere. You can find this stuff, right? And now with the introduction of AI, it's even easier to not only find the information, but it's easier to have that information executed on for you, right? I think where this is going to go as far as, the coaching industry goes, I think you're going to see a lot more interactions, personal interactions between the coach and the business. I think there will be, I wouldn't call it hand holding, but there will be a much higher touch rate throughout the coaching process and experience, purely because, you think back to even 5 to 6 years ago, a course was enough. There was no coaching element to it.
Right.
And then we saw an evolution where the coaching element started to become the thing that people were going for as opposed to the information. And now the information holds little to no weight. And so the other part to this is I think we're going to start to see joining of programs. I think you're going to start to see a lot of the guys. So that I think as we get shaken up, I think the cream will rise to the top as far as the quality of the product, the quality of the service delivery. And I think that those guys are going to start to collaborate at a much, much deeper level. And that's gonna cause this entire industry to shake out all the bad products, the bad gurus, if you will. And I think it's going to be a very good change for the overall view of the industry, where it's not like people are worried about getting scammed. And it's more like, hey, which one is going to fit where I'm at closer today, and who has the right infrastructure to help me achieve the outcome that I'm going after?
Mm-hmm. And do you see maybe
does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I think that's good. And do you see collaboration across like industries, or do you see like collaboration within the same realm? Like, will it be like nutrition and fitness, or would it be like new business and fitness, and like creating coaching around that? Or you see like two fitness people collaborating to create like the super program?
So that's a really good question. And I've actually been dabbling with it. Even though I'm a service provider, I've started to dabble with cross-industry overlap. Mm-hmm. I've started to layer in vendors, other individuals and or businesses that complement my business, because I know that the more value my clients get, the longer they stay with me, the more they're worth. And ultimately that's my goal, is to increase lifetime value, right? Make my customer worth more. And so I've found that the more services I can link them to or provide to them, the longer they stay. Now, there is something to be said for linking them as opposed to providing them. And what I mean by that is the moment you take or you remove your specialty. So if I right now said, I'm just a marketing agency, I've lost the label of being the go-to guy for YouTube, right? I think there is still value in being central to one topic, one approach. But if you can link them, I like, for example, my YouTube ads clients, I right now link them to two additional services. When they come on board, I will immediately put them through a sales audit. That gives me confidence in their acquisition system and their sales pipeline. But it also gives them another insight into a part of their business they may not have been looking at closely. The audits that we're providing them right away from day one are enough that they're going, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't even know that was a problem, but we need to fix that too. And so they're hiring, my friend, and he's coming in and he's overhauling their sales process, and they're getting, a 3x boost in sales with the same ad spend just because they fixed their processes, right? And as a result, they're looking at me going, well, we found him through you. There's a lot of synergy in this, because if he's delivering that kind of result, they're looking to me to deliver that kind of result as well. And since I know that I can, it's good for everybody. And then the second thing I do is I have them actually get in contact with one of my more trusted Facebook media buyers. And when they do that, again, they're looking, well, you're the YouTube ads guy, but all of these channels work together. And so if I can get you someone to help you on that side, all of these services are now aiding in your growth, and we can provide an even better experience in a shorter period of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting. And do you do that? Like, I mean, is it for free? It's like, hey, I want you to just do a free consult with my, I mean, they'll do it for free because it's a great lead for them, right?
It is.
And it just makes it easy.
And on top of that, the value that we provide is not like a strategy session. We actually go through on the sales side, we do a top to bottom audit as a prospect, which means it takes about a week to do. And it's a full write-up with anywhere from 10 to 20 items that were noteworthy in the acquisition pipeline. And it's like, this probably needs to be fixed. This is a high priority. This is a low priority. This is something that probably won't work for this particular channel, but could work for this channel. And we literally provide them this entire write-up for free. And that's why so many people end up buying the consulting as well, which I don't get any kickbacks for, but he's the only guy I trust for it. So many people end up buying that just because like they got the value long before and they didn't even ask for it. And it came from me. And so the moment they got that value, that was a momentum trigger point saying, okay, I'm in trusted hands. They were able to do that for free. What can they do paid? And it moves across. So I think, going back to your original question, I think the coaching industry is going to be very similar. We're already seeing a lot more of these events with like Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. You're seeing a lot more collaborative events instead of the events that were one-off for that one person, back even a couple of years ago. And I think that's going to continue. And I think, to your point, I think that they will overlap. ultimately. And I think that you'll go into one place, you'll have a mindset coach who's actually a renowned mindset coach. You'll have a marketing coach who's a renowned marketing coach. And so in all these different areas, and they're getting a higher lifetime value because you're going to stay longer because they have all the tools you need. You don't have to go 15 different programs to get it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like it. I love the insight. That's awesome. Well, let's kind of start to wrap things up. And how I like to do this is with just some rapid fire, just like random questions. And since my automations didn't work for this podcast, you have no warning whatsoever on what I'm going to ask. Usually people in advance can at least read them. But I promise it's nothing very complicated and it's very simple.
All right.
And so I'll kick it off with the first one: taco, quesadilla, or burrito?
Quesadilla.
Quesadilla. Interesting. That is definitely like the lowest chosen one out of them all.
Really? Oh, man. Yeah.
Quesadilla guy? All right. All right. If you could live in any cartoon world for a week, what cartoon world do you live in?
I'm trying to think of a cartoon.
I know, like you have to go back. This usually takes people back a little bit. Go back to your childhood.
Yeah.
What'd you like to
I'm thinking of like Pinky and the Brain or something. I could probably live in Pinky and the Brain for a week.
I don't think I've ever heard that one. I don't think but that is a solid cartoon.
Yeah. Or I mean, I guess you could go the more popular, which is something like Family Guy or something, or American Dad. I could live in American Dad. That'd be pretty good.
American Dad. All right. I like it. All right. If you could come back as an animal, what animal do you come back as?
Bird. Something about being in the sky for me that I love.
Would it be like a type of bird? Is it like a falcon? Is it an eagle? Is it like a sparrow? Like,
preferably more of a predatorial bird, one that it's not going to be more towards the top of the food chain. I'll put it that way.
Okay. All right. I like it. Not like an ostrich or something.
No, yeah, preferably not. I don't put my head,
I love it. All right. If you could have dinner with anyone on the planet, past or present, who do you break bread with?
Oh man, that's so tough. Maybe Charlie Munger.
Okay. What about Charlie intrigues you?
I just think that there's a lot of wisdom there. I think that he's seen a lot, done a lot, with Warren. And I think that you got, Charlie Munger's almanac. He's got phenomenal information there. I think that too little weight is placed on the wisdom and experience of, the generations that have come before us. A lot of us trying to pave our own way. We don't ask enough questions and we don't listen enough. And so I think that I've had the pleasure of sitting down with several billionaires in the last few years. And I can tell you that I spent most of the time writing notes, just with my jaw on the table, listening and taking it in. And I respect them not because of the money that they've made. I respect them because of who they had to be to make it. And what they had to go through, what they had to learn. And so I think probably any billionaire, but I think Charlie would be a pretty fascinating one.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, if people want to learn a little bit more about you, where do you live on the internet? And then the same thing with your company as well.
Yep. So I own Proven Digital. You can go to start.provendigital.com to check out YouTube ads agency. I'll be honest, I am not very present on social media. It's pretty hard to find me. You got to really try. But if you happen to stumble across any content from me, as I am starting to ramp up my own content output, I have a bright yellow profile picture with a crazy face. So that's the only way to find me. But I'm usually on Facebook. That's probably the best place to find me.
Okay. I like it. I love it. And we'll put everything in the show notes so that people can easily find that. But man, it's been fun. I appreciate you sharing your story and giving the backstory and talking about, where this crazy world of coaching is going from your perspective. And I just appreciate you for coming on.
I love it. Thank you, Trevor. Really do appreciate you. I hope this was valuable. I hope I was able to provide something, but either way, it was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
I love it. Thanks, man.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode of the Coach Catalyst podcast. If you are a coach looking to do more for your clients than just workouts, give Coach Catalyst a test drive. Try it for 14 days. Jump on call with your personal strategy coach, Ashley, and see how easy technology can be, all for free. Tell them Trevor sent you. Until next time, keep changing lives.